From KVUE News in Austin, you're watching Texas This Week with Ashley Goodo.
Good morning. A well-known name just entered the race for U.S. Senate. We sit down with former Congressman Colin Allred. But first, let's get to the three things you need to know in Texas politics. Another group of parents is suing the state of Texas to try and stop the Ten Commandments bill from going into effect. Senate Bill 10 will require a poster of the Ten Commandments be put up in all public school classrooms. The ACLU filed a lawsuit on behalf of 16 Texas families, claiming the law violates the separation of church and state. Last week, Governor Greg Abbott posted this video on social media marking the anniversary of the Supreme Court decision to allow Texas to keep its Ten Commandments monument at the Capitol, a case he argued. He says Texas will defend the new law. It's set to go into effect September 1st. A law making it a state crime to enter Texas from Mexico anywhere other than at a port of entry will remain blocked. The Texas Tribune reports the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals issued that ruling this week, finding the law that also required judges to order people back across the border conflicts with federal immigration law. State lawmakers passed Senate Bill 4 in 2023, but it never went into effect because of legal challenges. State Senator Brian Birdwell is retiring, raising the number of Texas Senate seats up for grabs to 3. The Granbury Republican and decorated military veteran was first elected to the Senate in 2010. State Representative David Cook, who unsuccessfully launched a bid to be the Speaker of the Texas House, announced plans to run for Senator Birdwell's seat. Former Congressman Colin Allred is running for U.S. Senate again. He launched his campaign this week, 7 months after losing the race for Senator Ted Cruz's seat. He joined me from Dallas to talk about why he's trying again and what will be different this time. What led up to this decision to run for Senate again?
Yeah. Well, like a lot of folks, I've been at home with my family watching what's been going on in our state and in our country. And I just felt like everything was backwards. And folks were working harder and harder for less. There were a lot of promises made to Texans in the last election about there's going to be some focus on lowering their costs, making it easier for them to get ahead. I think those promises have certainly not been fulfilled. In fact, it's been the opposite. They've made it harder on folks. They've raised folks' costs. And the best example is this bill that's working its way through Congress right now. That's going to be one of the biggest wealth transfers from working class folks to the wealthiest in American history. And so it doesn't have to be this way. We can have a senator who cares about all of us, who will fight for all of us. That's what I want to do.
It's our understanding there was a meeting, if you will, between you and some other top Democrats to talk about who would run for this seat, who would want to challenge U.S. Senator John Cornyn or Attorney General Ken Paxton, depending on how that primary shakes up. What can you tell us about that conversation? Because it's my understanding you, State Representative James Tallarico, Congressman Joaquin Castro, and former Congressman Beto O'Rourke all were interested in running for Senate.
Well, listen, these are all friends of mine. We got a lot of talent in Texas. And I've told everybody the same thing, which is that I make my own decisions based on where I think I can best serve, how I think I can, reach folks. And then obviously that's why I'm in this race. And so that to me is what that was about. But also, we just have a lot of talent here.
Yeah. Obviously going into this election, things will be different, right? This is a midterm election. Historically, the party in power does not do as well in midterms. Do you see that as a prime opportunity as to maybe another reason why you think you can be successful this time around?
Well, like I said before, I just think everything is upside down. And I think folks sense that. There's a sense that if you work hard and play by the rules, it's harder to get ahead. But that if you're cutting corners or cutting deals, then you'll be just fine. And the folks that I see, whether it's John Cornyn or Ken Paxton, in my opinion, are either too weak or too corrupt to fight for us in a time when we need someone who will fight for Texas. And there'll be some things where, listen, I'll agree with the administration that's in place. There'll be some things where I'll disagree. This bill would be a big example of where I would disagree. Kicking 1 million Texans off their health care in a state that already has the highest uninsured rate in the country just doesn't make any sense. Raising energy costs by $800 a year for Texans when we're already dealing with high energy costs doesn't make any sense, right? So you have to have somebody who will fight for us regardless of their party, who puts Texas first. That's what I want to do. I want to be laser focused on lowering folks' costs. You know, I was raised by a single mom in Dallas who's a public school teacher. I know what folks are going through. I want to be a fighter for them.
I want to take a step back to your last campaign for Senate. You were running against U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, and he spent a lot of time pointing to your voting record and things that he saw as problematic within your voting record. And at the time, we really didn't see you push back about that record. Are you going to do that differently this time? Because we're already starting to see some of those same arguments, right, being mentioned against you in just the early days of you announcing your campaign.
Well, listen, every campaign is different. And this is going to be about the future, not the past. And I'm an old football player, and I can tell you that after a football game, or after a loss, or after a season, you would look at what happened and you try and make assessments and all that. But I think Texans have gotten to know a bit about me. I think they've gotten to know a bit about my story, about being raised by a single mom in Dallas, making it to Baylor and the NFL, serving in a way in Congress that showed it's possible to bring folks together. But we're in a time right now where I think folks are really struggling, and they're looking for somebody who actually will deliver on a promise of trying to make it easier for them when they're having a hard time affording the things that they know they need to do for their family. And that's what I want to be laser focused on. We need somebody who will be. This bill is going to be making life more expensive for folks living paycheck to paycheck. And it's going to be doing it all in service of getting a tax cut for the richest Texans, the richest Americans possible. That's the exact opposite of what we should be doing right now.
You know, you mentioned Texans getting to know you, getting to know your story. One of the things that, you know, we heard from people is they wanted to see more of you out on the campaign trail last time around. You're announcing early this time. You know, does that mean we're going to see lots of Colin Allred over the next few months?
Well, I loved going all around our state in the last election. Of course, I was in Congress. I won't be in Congress anymore, and that's a big change for me, and I'm looking forward to that. And I want to have some more of the kind of long-form conversations with folks, particularly working people, about what's going on in their lives. I want to, go on to work sites. I want to really, have these conversations about what's working, what's not working. That's how I ran for Congress initially, and that's what I want to do in this race: is spend more time with working folks, understanding what we need to be doing to lower costs. I have a plan. And I have a lot of plans for how we can make this system that I think is broken and that is rigged work better. But I also want to hear from Texans, see Texans, obviously be out there as much as possible. And I look forward to it.
Give us a hint. You have some plans. Give us a little, a little taste of what some of those plans include. I love to get into the policy.
Yeah, well, in my launch video, I talked about that we're going to roll out an anti-corruption plan, and that'll be one of many things that we'll be talking about. But I think that we need to talk about the role that corruption is playing in raising costs for folks. And it shows up, in a bill like this. It shows up in the fine print, where you'll see the carve-outs for certain industries, and then you'll see the campaign contributions that are related to that. And we have a real problem with that in Texas, because it's not just that it's wrong that we have some folks who I would consider to be unacceptably corrupt, but it's also that it costs you more money. And in my time in Congress, over 6 years, I never took a single dime of corporate PAC money. I never, had traded a single stock. I never had anything that anyone could even, point to have anything other than that I was doing what I thought was best for the folks I represent. And we need to talk about this and how we can reduce corruption and help folks by lowering their costs.
Obviously, we intend to talk to you a lot more over the next few months, but any final thoughts for our viewers in Austin this afternoon?
No, I just want to say, listen, I can't wait to come to Austin. I'll be there soon. I hope folks will come out and say hi, shake my hand, yell at me if you want. But I'm excited. This is a time where we need to have folks stand up. I've talked to so many Texans who are so concerned right now, and it doesn't have to be this way. We have elections for a reason, and it's to correct when we get off course, and that's what we have to do here.
Two other Texas Democrats are also running for Senate. Former astronaut Terry Virts and former flight attendant Mike Swanson launched their campaigns. Of course, U.S. Senator John Cornyn is running for re-election. He's being challenged by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Now, candidates cannot formally file to run, though, until November. That's Texas This Week.